Today we're going to be talking about the need for other friendships when you're married. I was a bit stressed. I texted a couple of my friends, hey guys, I think everything's going to be okay, but this is something that's weighing on me a bit. Could you pray for?
I want to go to my friends because, my spouse isn't listening to me or my spouse isn't there for me like my friends are.
Mariah, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
This feels vulnerable for me to ask, but would you consider me your best friend?
I mean, I'm your best friend. No, I'm just kidding. Have you seen those videos?
No, I haven't. What are they?
It's just like a meme where it's like, I'm your best friend, but you're not really my best friend.
Oh, I see.
But no,
That's kind of savage.
It goes both ways.
So it's like,
but yeah. it's like a little sister saying it to an older sister or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you are my best friend.
And you're my best friend. Don't worry.
I think, though, that what we want to talk about is how you need other friendships in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's like the classic, I remember when I was in high school, I had a friend who was a hopeless romantic.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he got into relationships, we didn't see him.
We've all had a friend like that.
We've all had a friend like that. And I think that sometimes you could justify even being more so like that in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But we think it is very important to have other friends. I have probably 4 really close friends outside of Mariah,
mm-hmm.
and she probably had the same, if not more, outside of me.
Mm-hmm.
You're a good friend.
Thanks.
You're a good friend collector.
Collector?
Yeah, in the sense that, not that you collect tons of friends, it's more that, the friends that you do have are good friends.
Mm. Oh, I have good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if someone's a good wine collector, it doesn't really speak to their quantity of bottles, but the quality of bottles.
The type.
And so that's why I'd call you a good friend collector.
Thank you.
Why is it important to have friends outside of your significant other?
Is it?
Take your time. It's a big question. Take your time. I'm dying to know.
No, I swear it's important. I think it's important because you don't want to become so insular as a family. So I feel like me and you refine each other a lot in just life, our qualities, things we need to improve on. But I feel like if it was just kept to us, we'd almost get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's important to have friends that see your life as well, that have a window into your life so that they can be people who refine you as well and call you up and call you out. And yeah, that's also aside from people to create memories with and people to involve in your family. Yeah. But I feel like that's an important aspect.
Yeah, I think anytime your world is getting too small, it's a dangerous thing. The moment you just want to hang out by yourself.
Yeah.
Or you once had 10 friends, but then it went down to 8, then 5, then 1. And you're kind of, finding yourself in a cycle of becoming more and more insular is not a good thing. I think the more you can have community, people who can speak into your life, people you can connect with, other people you can bond with, share hobbies with, is a good thing. I find that I value friends and close relationships for obviously just the friendship itself. But I like that friends, at least my friends, really care about who I'm becoming. And these are friends who could call me out on something if I was, doing something that was contrary to who I am.
Yeah. I think,
or who I'm trying to be. I
think too, as you're talking, I'm thinking about if there's ever something painful that me and you are going through, not with each other, but something externally that's happened, let's say one of us lost a job or we're going through external family stuff. It's nice to share that with your friends.
Yeah.
To have them listen to you and care for you. I've just found that really beautiful in the past 6 years of being married. And of course we can share those things with each other, but there's something about having that community around you.
Yeah. I think what would be helpful for us to talk about is 2 things our friends are and 2 things our friends aren't. So one thing that my friends are is a source of support outside of you. So that if I'm, for example, having a discouraging time, I remember there was a point in our son's birth that I was a bit stressed, like not crazy stressed, but I texted a couple of my friends, hey guys, I think everything's gonna be okay, but this is something that's weighing on me a bit. Could you pray for Mariah and our son that's about to be delivered? And I didn't want that to stress you out. So that group of friends for me was like a source of support outside of you.
Yeah.
So I'd say friends outside of us are a source of support.
The second thing that friends are, I think, is a source of joy. Like the amount of joy that I've experienced just seeing my friends live their life, whether they've just graduated university or they've had a child or got married or whatever. It's been so incredible to not only see them thriving, but also to like be a part of those memories with them. And of course, I get to see those things close up with you as well.
Yeah.
But it's almost like because we're like one person or one unit, your wins are my wins.
Yeah.
So to be able to like celebrate someone outside of us has been really awesome.
Yeah,
over the
I
years.
like that. Like I remember there was a quote that's like, the more relationships you have, the more you grieve, but it's also the more you celebrate. And I find that having friends outside of just us reminds us that we're part of a bigger community and reminds us that our lives are not the extent of what's going on. Like, we get to celebrate a friend finishing their master's or a friend having a baby, and we're able to look outside of ourselves for joy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in turn, that makes us less selfish, less inward looking, and more focused on what's happening all around us.
Yeah, exactly.
So 2 things friends are: a source of support, a source of joy. 2 things friends aren't: one would be a place to vent about your significant other.
Yeah, it gets so toxic, I feel like.
It gets messy. And I think that it's so important that you speak highly of your significant other in general. But it's like, there has to be a space for you to vent or even process through frustrations you have with your significant other that aren't just with your friends. Because I think sometimes we can go, I experienced this thing that was frustrating for me about Daniel, or frustrating with me about Mariah. I'm going to go straight to these friends. And then the reality is they're getting your most passionate, like venting at times, but they're also getting your least accurate venting. Because oftentimes when you skip that part of like processing it to yourself or by yourself, you're just like passionately raging as opposed to like thoughtfully processing through the events that happen.
Yeah.
So for example, Mariah could do something frustrating now, and then in an hour from now, I'm over it. But if within that hour I vented to a friend, they're like, oh, that was a significant thing, or that was something that would have annoyed me. And now they're developing this whole picture of Mariah based on something that I was over pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so I think that one thing I would encourage people to do is like find ways of processing through frustration with a significant other that aren't like venting to a friend. And this, I feel like I always have to make the caveat, like, this isn't abusive situations.
Yeah.
This isn't talking about situations that are explicitly toxic or unhealthy. I'm talking about like the little grievances and annoyances that come with a normal relationship with 2 people who are imperfect.
Yeah. I think whenever I talk about my marriage to my friends, it's either like about good parts of it, or it's to confess or almost reflect to them like parts where I feel like I'm falling short and get their encouragement and advice.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a really healthy thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I feel like I just get frustrated for no reason. Like, have you guys ever dealt with that? How do you walk through that?
Yeah.
And that to me is healthy because it's like more so about me than about you. And it's coming from a place of like, I want to be a good wife to Daniel. I want to be a good partner.
Yeah.
So I need to learn how to do that. Sometimes that's not always natural.
No, that's good.
But as soon as it gets towards the other person,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the territory that you don't want to
That
really
makes
want to
sense.
enter with your friends.
And what if someone was asking like, where is a healthy place to like brainstorm or healthily process a frustration or grievance I am experiencing in my relationship? Like, if I were doing something that was reoccurring and that got on your nerves, like, where would be a good place for you to go, or if someone was asking?
My first thought for that is going to a counselor. I think specifically a couples counselor would be helpful with this. I think sometimes when you have like frustrations toward your spouse, you might not want to address it with them right away. because maybe you'll be too frustrated, or maybe you don't know how, or maybe you think they won't listen.
Yeah. Or maybe you even want to see if you have a fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're unsure, maybe. But I think a really good environment to bring that up in is with your spouse, with a couples counselor present, because they are a neutral person amongst you that you can bring things to. And hopefully they won't share their opinion, but they'll just kind of guide you through the conflict.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can come out of the other end of that understanding each other better.
And I think it's important to go to a counselor that shares a similar value set and belief system as you, so that you know the goal that you're walking towards is the same goal that they're leading you towards. So for example, if you're someone who loves a certain type of counseling method, go to a counselor who functions within that method. If you have a certain religious background, go to a counselor who has the same religious background.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to go to for example, a counselor who is Muslim if you're Christian, or Christian if you're Muslim. Like, I think it's intuitive. And then if there's someone, for example, who is a marriage counselor who maybe doesn't think the marriage continuing is the first priority, but the people's, like, each person's happiness is the main priority, but you think, you and your significant other, for example, function with the belief that you do whatever it takes to stick in a marriage, especially if there's no major gaps in character or abuse, then you might realize that that couple or that couple's counselor is just focusing on making you happy, not necessarily making your marriage succeed and doing the hard work to do that.
Yeah, that's
so just
a good
make
point.
sure the value set and the goals are shared, and sometimes that comes on the other end of also having similar belief sets as well.
Yeah, I think sometimes I'm hesitant to bring up counseling because I know that it's not super accessible for everyone, whether it's like finding a good counselor or even just the cost of it, because it can be expensive.
Yeah.
So I think another thing that you could do that's not going to a friend is just journaling and really taking time to process this on your own. And in that, maybe you can process like, oh, is there any part that I have in this grievance that we have? Or is there a way I can bring it up to my spouse where I don't have to feel like I'm attacking them, or I can just bring it up so we can talk about it? Because I feel like if you take that time to process things, you're calming yourself down, you're thinking more clearly, and it's worth it. Like, our marriages are so important, so it's worth it to take that space to journal and think about whatever you're going through.
And I think one more tool I just want to give people when it comes to processing it, whether it be internal processing or journaling, is two questions I often ask, and then maybe I'll give a bonus, is like, one, what is the most charitable version of my perspective of what they did? And what is the least charitable version of my perspective of what I did? I think sometimes we can be easy on ourselves and hard on the other person. So we want to be charitable towards them and then critical of ourselves, because oftentimes if we look really hard, there's something that we could have done differently in that specific situation. And so this goes into a bigger conversation about conflict resolution.
Yeah.
But the main point here is making sure not to vent to friends primarily. And if it's like a one-off thing, like you don't want to be too like strict about it, but it's just like you want to avoid venting to friends, because I think there's healthier ways to process. One other thing I think about is talking it through with a mentor or someone who's older, maybe a decade or 2 or 3 ahead of you, who loves both of you and has a high view of both of you. And they're able to start kind of hearing you from this position of like, I love you both. I know that Mariah is an awesome wife and loves you, and you're an awesome husband and loves you, and you love her. And I would love to hear this with the goal of helping you guys get healthier and better as a couple. And so sometimes I've found great comfort in guys in my life who are 70, 80 years old who don't care about the tea.
They do not care.
The tea. They just care about
They
us.
actually don't want the tea.
They do not want the tea. They would rather the best person to vent to or express frustrations to is the person who doesn't want the tea.
Yeah.
The moment someone wants the tea, they shouldn't get the tea.
No, definitely not. Okay, what's the second thing that friends shouldn't be? Is that what we were saying?
Yeah.
The second thing friends shouldn't be.
The moment someone doesn't want the tea, they shouldn't get the tea. I like that. I just had to think about that for a bit.
Be the person that doesn't want the tea.
Be the person that doesn't want the tea. Everyone who wants tea is typically like messy a bit.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Or just human.
No, it's messy. No, it's messy. Oh, man. Anyways, what is the second thing that our friends shouldn't be?
Our friends shouldn't be an escape from our spouse.
That's good. How do you know when your friends are becoming an escape?
I guess.
Escape is also kind of intense.
Yeah.
Language.
Yeah.
Like, when I think of escape, I think of like you in the grip of my arms trying to escape. But like,
I picture like the house
because it's memorable.
Yeah. I picture like the house being like chaotic and you're just like, I can't
I just
even
gotta
be
get
in
out of
it. I
here.
gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
Which maybe there's moments like that sometimes.
Yeah, I think
that's fine.
I think our friendships need to be more like, oh, I just love my friendship.
Yeah. Like
My
in
friendship.
addition to
Yeah,
your marriage, not like, oh, I'm not getting it here, so I'm gonna get it there.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
that make sense?
I think if there's ever a time where you feel like you want to evade or escape from your spouse over a prolonged period of time, like, we're not talking like, oh, we got in an argument and I'm going to go for a walk to blow off steam. Like, that could be a healthy thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, time after time, you find yourself almost like needing to flee your significant other because you're just sick of them. Why are you laughing? This is
It's
serious.
just like
This is a serious...
I know. It's
topic,
sad that
Mariah.
people feel like that sometimes, but it's just funny that you're just sick of them.
I'd like to see you drop. If you can you drop in the comments, Mariah, take life more seriously.
I feel like a way couples could do this too is
Yeah.
like on their days off or their weekends, they're always hanging out with other people. Like it's
yeah.
okay to do that and do that a lot if that's what you guys like to
Have your girls'
do.
night. Have your boys' night.
Have your couples nights like together. That's what I'm saying. Like everyone hanging out together.
Oh yeah.
Because like if you do that every moment you have free, then you're never spending time one-on-one. And I feel like it's like a subtle form of escape.
Yeah. Something I find with us is that because our schedule's so busy, it could be easy just to be in like almost like autopilot mode in terms of get this thing done, care for our son, clean the house, check off the to-do list, do administrative work. And then you do that over 5 nights. And then before you know it, you go through a whole week without actually just connecting with each other as opposed to working on our house or caring for our son.
Yeah.
So I think that like what I've realized is that I need to actually escape the like minutia of life to like connect with you and grow deeper in relationship with you as a person as opposed to escaping from you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's a bit of a different conversation, but I think anytime someone's feeling like, oh, I need to go to my friends to get away from my spouse or my significant other over a prolonged period of time, you should pay attention to that because usually that's an unhealthy thing.
Or even like
Or I should say that could be an unhealthy thing.
Yeah, or I want to go to my friends because, you know, my spouse isn't listening to me or my spouse isn't there for me like my friends are. I feel like that would make my flags go up a bit.
Yeah.
Of course, your friends are a support to you maybe in a different way than your spouse is, and that could be a good thing.
Yeah.
But if it's like fully replacing, then I would be like, okay, that seems a little concerning.
Yeah. I think the same thing goes for affirmation too. Like I feel like I'm fully appreciated for who I am around my friends, and I don't feel that around my spouse.
Yeah.
I think you have to be mindful of that because that could be the start of a trajectory towards something you don't want to become as a couple.
Yeah.
So your spouse should and can be your best friend, but it's really important to have other friends. We wanted to provide a bit of a framework for that, and then obviously 2 things your friends should be, and 2 things your friends shouldn't be. If you have anything to add on either side, make sure to drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear your feedback.
And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe so you can see when our new videos are posted. And if you liked this video, make sure to share it with a friend who might like it as well. And also, you can watch this video next.